Worked out twice yesterday and really tried to, in the morning session, work on some things fundamentally defensively that we saw from the film on Sunday to try to correct some things. We're going to have to sharpen those things up as we play in this conference, and we just weren't sharp enough. And so it was a good session yesterday morning, and came back last night and really tried to work on being tough on offense and setting good screens, whether it's a man-to-man or a zone. And so I thought it was 2 productive practices, and then we'll practice this morning at 11.
Granted, it's early in the season, but what do you make of the SEC right now, with you all losing at home, Tennessee losing early on? I mean, how much more balanced do you see the league at this point?
You know, I just, with what we're trying to do here and the focus I've had on the team, I'm not sure where everybody stands right now. I would say before anybody played a game, I knew it was going to be a tough league and a tough conference. And, you know, these games are very difficult every Sunday and every Thursday. And so it's going to be a long 16-game schedule, and you're going to have to work really, really hard to rise to the top here. And so what I make of the SEC is it's as tough a league as you'll find in this country, and it has been since I've been the head coach at Kentucky and been an assistant here and at 2 other schools. And so it's a tough league, and will be this year.
In post-game, it sort of sounded like, reading between the lines of what you said and maybe what Castine said, sounded like maybe there weren't some players on board that you guys are hoping will get on board soon. Are there issues with personalities or anything on this team that maybe you haven't dealt with before?
No, this team's not, as far from a personality standpoint, real dissimilar from any. It's just on Sunday, we did not start the game with the kind of effort or intensity that we've all around here grown accustomed to, and so that's all that was. And so Castine's been here 4 years. I've been here 7. Castine knows what a Kentucky team, a successful Kentucky team looks like and plays like, and she's played in some games where we haven't been successful, so she hadn't gone undefeated, so she knows the difference between a good game and a bad game. So I feel comfortable knowing everybody's personalities, and we don't really get into personalities at this point in the season. We get into effort and execution, and by this point everybody knows that we are here to help them develop as people in every way they can develop off the court, academically, socially, in this community, all those things. And then as players, we're here to help them develop and be their best as players. So that's what everybody at this point knows. So your personality doesn't really matter at this point. It matters on, you know, can you show up, be focused, and that's what we did not come out with the correct amount of intensity or focus or effort to beat a Florida team that came out with all that. So you credit them for being ready to go, and you look inside yourself and your team and try to figure out how to make sure that doesn't happen again. So it's a long season, and most teams, some don't, but most teams go, and really even the teams that are great and go undefeated and things like that, I'm sure they have ups and downs, but you know, we just did not get the job done, and we all want to get the job done, and so when it doesn't happen, it's pretty easy to spot. So I don't think it's anything but just a clear recognition of who we are. So I would say that we got a good handle on what we need to be.
How has Denisha practiced since then, and how much do you are you welcoming her back for points, especially?
Yeah, I was really encouraged with her after I watched the film. I think it was a really good 7 minutes for her. I thought she was challenged physically in a lot of ways. Her conditioning, just basketball-wise, would have been difficult for her to go a long time in that game. but we got what we needed out of that game as it just relates to Denisha. And I think she left the game with a lot of confidence. She practiced really hard yesterday, made all the plays, did all the defensive fundamentals, all of our defensive footwork. So I think we will see her round into shape however many games that takes her to get back. But I would say pretty, so for the bulk of this SEC schedule, I think we'll have her ready to go. It'll be a tough game Thursday. They are extremely big in the post and extremely physical, and your physical conditioning will be a factor in this game. So still, we'll practice hard every day with her, and we'll let her play as hard as she can play. She's very anxious to play. So I see nothing but blue skies ahead for us as far as it relates to her coming back from her injury. I haven't asked that question. We've just really been, we've been getting back to the point of when she could go full contact and go. And, I don't know at this point in the season and as it progresses, whoever's 100%, but what I deal with is, can she go full contact, full speed in practice, and then that lets you know something. So she's back there. So now it's a matter of basketball timing, knocking the rust off, continuing to gain confidence with her situation, and that all looks to be going really well.
You mentioned this maybe not being the most pleasant road trip and place to play, but in some ways is coming off the game that you guys are coming off and getting your players' attention and knowing that there's not going to be any room for the things they lacked on Sunday. Could the timing of this maybe be good? Yeah,
and let me tell you, it's a great place to play, and I say all of those things about a root canal and the visit to the dentist's office totally in a complimentary way to South Carolina, because this is how much respect we have for how hard they play and how tough they make it on you. So it's really a good place to go. It's a great facility and a really, really nice town, and we're always really treated well at South Carolina. But it is a good game to get the players' attention. I think if you're a veteran on this team, you understand that you don't show up anywhere in this league and win automatically on the road. In South Carolina, we've won some over there, but we've lost some too. So it's a tough proposition, and it's because they're such a good team. So it'll have our players' attention. Certainly needs to have our players' attention, and the key to this game is being able to hustle and stay really tough mentally, emotionally, physically, and rely on your fundamentals, because they will really play hard and really play tough. And so it is a battle for 40 minutes with this team, always is. So the key, can we keep that strength about us, and can we really hustle and try to out-hustle South Carolina? I think that's going to be such a key, because I don't think there's really any secrets between the two programs. We play each other twice, and the team that plays harder usually wins.
Michaela played, I think, 6 minutes in that last game. Are you still waiting for things from her, or was it one of those, she's in between positions and just didn't fit in the rotation, or what happened with that exactly?
Yeah, I think she's been caught doubting herself at the 4. And, that's probably, well, I'll say that I'll have to, look in the mirror on that and take the blame for not being able to get her to have the confidence to play there, because I have a lot of confidence in her, so obviously I haven't communicated that well enough to her. And then I just, after going back and looking at the film, I just was trying to stay positive with some of the players that were missing shots. And, as you go back and look in hindsight, probably should have gotten Michaela some more minutes there. It couldn't have hurt us any. But all of those things are sometimes lost in the heat of the battle, and you don't see it as well. And I think she has had some really good practice. Had 2 really good practices yesterday, and I think she probably just needs some success in a game to kind of get her going. And so it's my job to make sure she's in a position in the game to try to put her in some positions to be successful. Because I think right now what she just needs is a little boost of confidence, and she's still real talented and real valuable to us.
What causes, I know that obviously you don't have the answer totally, but what causes missed layups in your mind? What are you saying to players like Asia who are missing, 4 or 5 in a game? Like, what are the things that you're telling them to
Asia's
refocus on?
are just she struggles playing from a place of power, and that starts all in your core, and it starts with just your habit of getting your hips low and getting into what we call the power position. And so it's a real struggle for me as a coach to get her in that position. And we really try to work on it. We run wind sprints, and we pay attention to it in practice, and we have individual breakdowns. But at some point, a player has to take what the instruction is and just say, I'm going to make a commitment to it, and I'm going to do it every day in practice, and I'm not going to have to be reminded every single time. My job is to always be there to teach and to help, but there's some fundamental things that after you have trained over and over and over, you do have to take some responsibility there. And so she just gets off balance and rushes and does not play from a place of power. And in this league, where you're just going to go up against some players that are strong, and like you see a kid like Welch for South Carolina. She's just always in a power position, and she's always looking for contact and hunting contact, and she creates contact, and the officials call that, against the defense, and Asia shies away from contact and tries to get away from contact, and so that causes an off-balance situation, and if you're moving up there, it's hard to put it up off the window where you need to. So we just really, really have to find a way to motivate Asia to really accept that as being something that she's going to have to do, that I just simply can't do for her. I wish I could, because I definitely want her to do that.
Recently, Louisville had Antonita Slaughter. She had a similar issue that Kyvan had with the blood clot in the lung, I think, and they got her cleared.
Yeah.
Have you guys readdressed anything with Kyvan? Is there any plan to? Is she definitely out for the season?
Yeah, she is. And so, I just, we discussed that on Sunday, and it's just very difficult to know what that situation is, but it sounded like similar situations, and so it's very different than from what the information our medical team is going through, and so it's hard to compare the two without the information. So Kyvan had the issue with the blood clot. Very, very fortunate that it didn't cause a catastrophic situation. And so the plan was, the blood clot is gone. The plan is to go on the blood thinners to make sure a blood clot doesn't reform. And so in the idea of Kyvan's long-term health and well-being, we all got together and decided that we were going to take this course of action, and that the blood thinners you go on, that's what causes you not to be able to play. It doesn't really cure the blood clot, from what my information, and I may be getting in too deep with this. I'm just giving you what I've understood. And the blood thinners are just there to make sure another one doesn't pop up and you don't have that issue. And then we did other tests trying to decide whether she had a long-term issue, things like that. So clearly we worked through it 2 different ways, or maybe it's a different situation, I don't know. But that's the thing with Kyvan, and she will not play this year. we're still on a medical plan of making sure that she's healthy long-term and has a successful career here. Thank you.